Everyone, welcome to the MD&G show, Real Estate, Lending, and Wealth, your weekly prescription for real estate, lending, and legacy. I'm Monica Dunlap, or MD, your doctor of real estate, here with my husband George, your go-to lending expert and investor. Every week we break down real estate, lending, and wealth building in a way you can actually use. In today's episode, the prescription for a perfect deal, agent-lender partnerships that actually work, we're diving into how agents should choose and work with lenders, what healthy communication looks like on both sides, what consumers should experience from a strong agent-lender team, and the deal do's and don'ts that keep transactions on track instead of blowing up at the last minute. Definitely don't want that.
Do not want that.
Yeah, that is not fun to have deals at the last minute. So George, welcome to the show today.
Thanks, Monica.
All right, this is show number 2, so we're excited to have here. Last show, we kind of talked about a little bit about our experience, who we are, just so everyone kind of gets to know us a little bit. Now we're just deep diving right into it. So chose this today because, of course, I'm an agent. George, you're a lender. And that agent-lender partnership is really, really important. And not everybody's lucky to have, you know, a lender that's their partner in life too. We talked about even before George became that lender, I still made sure I had a great lender partner because that is critical for keeping a deal together. So why don't we start off today to kind of talk about like how agents choose a lender partner. And George, you can chime in here too as well because, hey, it could happen on the flip side too, how lenders choose an agent as well.
It's true. I think it's more the other way, but that's all right. Let's hear it.
Anyway, it's so important. I mean, because here's the thing, and this is what happens with most agents, right? I just saw it the other day with one of my agents, just happened to run into them. So lenders generally just call agents up and say, hey, you want to have a coffee? That's how they start it. And that's them trying to get business. So a lot of agents just go and meet with the lender, but they really don't know anything about the lender and if it would be a good partnership. I think a new agent, they meet with the first lender and they go, okay, I'm going to utilize you. And that's it. That's the relationship. But I'm going to caution you, don't want to get yourself into that because there's some questions that you actually should be asking the lender. George, you know some questions that they should be asking the lender? Or what do you think they should ask the lender?
I'm a numbers guy, so the fiduciary responsibility part is like big for me. So, I want to kind of know what kind of products and what, and you're going to ask about rates, but I mean, the thing about rates is, I hate to say it, but people are like, well, it could be this, it could be that, and what actually prints on paper when they're putting that on the loan estimate and locking it is two different things. So, and then, you never get I deal with other lenders on a lot of my deals, as much as, I appreciate the referrals and all that. A lot of my deals are, hey, they have another lender and they said, hey, give this guy a call. Like right now I'm doing a deal, I don't think I'll discuss it with you, but it's a professional athlete.
Okay. And
he came to me from someone I did a deal like years ago and said, hey, you probably should call this guy.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I was working on. I think everything's going to move forward. It looks like I'm saving him a lot of money and so forth. So, not to get off topic, but that is. But I'm excited about the whole professional.
That is. Congratulations. That's exciting.
So I've done one of those before, but this. So, but anyhow, I think that's a big part, and I think when you ask a realtor what's important, right? They always go back to communication.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that needs to be kind of and don't get me wrong, at a sit down coffee and interview, everything sounds good, right?
Yeah.
So you can kind of maybe add some color there, but communication always comes up.
Yep. No, and I think so. And I think honestly, when I think about like when I just first started as a new agent and I'm sitting down over coffee, I didn't really ask questions. So I don't know. That's why we're doing this. Ask those questions, write this down. You brought up a couple key points. The first one is, what products do you offer? Right? I think that's important because if they can't do VA loans, for example, or a certain type of product, then you're not going to be able to utilize them for a lot of your clients potentially. If you have a lot of first-time home buyers and maybe they don't have a great program for first-time home buyers, because not all lenders offer that. Is that the lender that you really want to partner with? So I think products is a big part of it.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't think as a realtor, I don't think you're going to be as
not
going to be as knowledgeable about all the products that are out there. But you want to make sure they can at least do the
basics.
The USDA. Some can't do USDA.
That's a good point. USDA,
VA, conventional and FHA, and then for a lot, at least where I'm at, brokers, a lot of them carve a niche out of doing specialty products, right? So that's why I've been, for investors, and now you get a lot of investors, and you have kind of like some of those agents that really jump on those investor leads. Then we're getting into DSCR loans and some other loans that bank statements or whatever the case may be. There's some niche products out there that a lot of brokers have been able to carve a kind of reputation on. So, I think for the most part, if I think the USDA, VA, FHA, conventional, that's going to be the majority of the loans. But when you're trying to pick up one or two extra, and you're trying to move from a certain number, having that arsenal as far as and options can definitely maybe get you a couple more deals, and that's what it's all about, right? How to grow your business. And so
no, I think that's important. A lot of agents don't realize. You just mentioned DSCR. I mean, that's a fantastic loan for investors.
Yeah, we did one ourselves.
Yep.
I don't know if you know that.
Yes, I know. I know we did that. So we just took a couple of our loans that were with the bank.
Bought it. Hey, I love talking deals, right?
Yeah.
Bought a house. It was PRP area, right?
Uh-huh.
And just not getting into specifics, but it was there. It was undervalued. It needed some work, which is great for us. We love adding value, and we use a DSCR. And just so you know, that's where they're not looking at your income. They're looking at the property income, and does it offset the loan? Meaning, if your payment's going to be $1,800 a month, when they do the appraiser does an appraisal rental review part,
okay,
and it will give you basically what they think it will rent for, kind of like what Zillow estimates does, right? So that's a tool to use too as you're looking at different properties. So on this one, and we won't drift too far. We ended up coming in at a payment of $1,600 with insurance, taxes, escrow built in, which is nice because we don't like dealing with paying outside this and budgeting all that. Came in, and then I think the rent, because we came in at like $2,122. Now this property actually just rented. I'll tell you the number we're in at
24, 25, 26?
25.
Okay.
I mean, the lady loved the house. I mean, fenced-in yard, 2-car garage, 4-bedroom. It was perfect. So, long story short, what a great product. I didn't have to get into all my income and what's going on with this and a whole bunch of underwriting. It literally was like, hey, where's our 20% coming from? We have instant equity in the house because it appraised more, and we're cash flowing, win-win. And guess what? I can do that over and over, and that's.
And it was a better rate. It was a better rate than an investor loan from a bank. It really was. I mean, we saved ourselves a few percentage points. I know that overall.
We did. I gave you a good deal.
Yeah. Well, that's why you want a good lender, right? That's why we're here and talking about it. But that's why, I mean, again, a new agent may not know those things, but it's good to ask what products, because, again, the more products they have, the more you can help your client too. Because here's the thing, sometimes a buyer can fit into a couple of different loan options. And if you as a lender only have one, but a lender over here may have 3, and option 3 may be the best one for the buyer, are you really giving the buyer, the best service if you're not giving them the best loan product?
Yeah, I think that's going to be a tough one for the agents to really kind of surface temperature, figure out right away just from initial coffee or so forth. I think you don't need to put all your eggs in one basket. I mean, don't get me wrong, as a lender, probably want all the eggs, right? But just from a lender's standpoint, as a realtor, I would say, hey, let's have a couple relationships and kind of see where this thing goes and go from there.
Yeah, and I think the next part too is some questions or things to think about is where are your rates at? Because I think there's an assumption out there, especially for agents, that every lender has the same rate, and that's not true. different ones have different basis points. I know we can get off on a whole different curve, but there's brokers and corresponding lenders. There's all sorts of things. So at the end of the day, I didn't realize that. My first lender that I went with wasn't giving the clients the best rate. Now, again, it's not always about rate either. I know they gave great service, but I feel better knowing that, hey, and it's a value prop I can give now, is that, hey, my lender can give great rates. And I know that, and they're competitive and trying against others, but
and
they need the best option.
This isn't a sell on me, but
no.
there was that part where I was out there and, because when you're working for a company, everybody's the Fed's getting the money, and then as it's getting passed along, right? There's margins built into those rates, meaning depending on where the rate is, there's a certain amount. There's money built into that. Not built in, but money being paid out on that. So where I'm going with this, I know in the beginning when sometimes I felt like I was working a place that was not very competitive, and that there was like that internal side where I felt I guess where I'm going with this is there's a way to make money and still get a client's a great deal, and that's where, obviously, not to discard any other type of mortgage company out there, but that's what the broker route really provided. And there's other places as well that aren't brokers that are competitive.
Yeah.
But there's some that have a lot of loan officers, and they churn a lot of loan officers because they just can't get the deals, and the rates aren't that. And they may get the referral, but then if a client may be shopping, and that's a good thing. And when they do shop, they find out that they're paying almost 0.5% higher sometimes.
Yeah, no, that's something important to for the agent and lender relationship. What we're talking about, if the lender that your preferred lender isn't competitive in rates, if the client doesn't shop, they're not going to shop around. You're going to work with that lender and client, and we'll get into the communication part that makes it easier. But if your client is like, no, I have this credit union, or I have this lender I want to try, or online, they're going to reach out to a lot of times, right? When you click that button for pre-approval, sometimes if you don't, can shoot out to a bunch of people,
True.
You can lose that deal, and it might be frustrating with that relationship if you're sending deals to a lender and the lender is unable to close it due to their constrictions on rate. Just something to think about. Again, it's not the end all be all. I think really the point I'm trying to make, the next point, is the most important, is the communication and relationship. And that the agent and lender have to really work as one team. And I think that's really, really important. And even present yourselves like, hey, we work together as a team in communication. Anything you want to add with that part of the communication and working together as a team?
Yeah, so, one thing we have is a lot of shared communication and shared, through our CRM and so forth. So we're kind of able to, hey, update each other on what's going on. We're able to put notes in there. And I really feel like, you're kind of like a left and right foot, right? Yeah. Where if you don't know what's going on, which way we're going, so it really helps. And one thing, I have quite a bit of investing background, and you do as well. But one thing I try to do is, even though I feel like I know real estate maybe much better than some loan officers, because it's what I do. I also try to stay in my lane as well, and let the realtor be the realtor, and I try to be the loan officer. I
think that's a really important point, because that's another part of the communication. You don't want a partner that's taking over your role, so to speak, or going up. That's just going to hurt credibility with the client.
Yeah.
If you as a loan officer start acting as the agent.
And they try to get you involved more when it comes to, where, hey, we have another offer, or hey, it's just not, multiple offer situations, things like that, because they want to talk numbers, but then they want to talk strategy and so forth, and that's really where I'm referring back to the agent. Now I will get with the agent and say, hey, I deal with a lot of your agents, so they know that stuff. And it was kind of like that deal the other day. in Florida.
Yep.
You know, and this wasn't your deal, but literally.
We can talk about it, yeah.
Yeah, literally, it was for a friend of ours that referred, and a friend referred them to us.
It was in Florida, so it's out of the state.
And then the realtor that you know, of course, refers them to their lender.
Yeah.
And their lender was about $4,500 or more. When I was like, hey, if you want all the numbers to match exactly that, I can match on that, because they were, you know, that the taxes low and insurance low, and things looked somewhat, but but my rate was much lower, you know, as well. So I was like, I can match taxes and insurance, because at the end of the day, they're going to come back what they are.
Yeah.
You know, there's going to be no, you know, the insurance you choose and the tax rate is the tax rate. That being said, they were putting some low numbers in there, and it looked like they're cash to close, and of course with the lower rate.
You say that lender put unrealistic numbers for taxes and insurance, which means that the taxes and insurance are probably going to be much higher, which is going to make your cash to close higher, and it's going to make your payment higher.
So your escrow
they're
is built.
falsely putting some numbers in, either intentionally or unintentionally. We're not here to judge.
And that's exactly how I said. I said, hey, I mean, you told me your insurance was going to be $330. You had that quote. Did you tell her? Well, yeah, we did. I'm like, well, they got $200 in here, so there's $130 right there.
That's per month, yeah.
You know, and so everything kind of, as we, you know, went through it, and that's at the end of the day, I can match rate and do all this, and at the end of the day, I'll be the exact same number.